it is much, much easier to operate and run a business when you're in an area where there's what I would call low competition. And what I've noticed happens to businesses when they're in a low competition space, they develop this complacency about their business because there's nothing pushing them to grow or to protect, right? So a lot of times businesses end up in this very complacent state where they're just kind of like, well, we're the only game in town, or there's only four of us and there's X amount of people in this town. And so we always have business. And that type of thought process is really a lure. And the lure there is that it's safe and okay to sit in that complacent state that you're in because that you're correct. And maybe it's been that way for 15 years. What we're seeing in Columbia, Tennessee, and across really a lot of the rest of Middle Tennessee, and I'm sure it's happening in other areas across the United States as well, is as areas grow and develop, it brings in new people. And new people have business ideas. Like people come in, they've got, I want to do this, I want to do that, I got an idea for a business. And back in the day, you would kind of do your market research and look and go, well, there's 6 competitors, so I can enter in the market or I can't. And what does it look like to enter into the market? And those kind of questions were really important and were part of driving a decision. So a lot of times just having an established business there was enough to protect you from a newcomer coming into the space. In the current digital climate that we live in now, with the rise of artificial intelligence and marketing and people typically in that, age range of entrepreneurship where people really understand the digital world, they understand websites and social media and all these different avenues of bringing business, competitors are no longer scary. And so if you're the business that's been there for a long time, and let's just say that you're operating a laser tag facility or a paintball facility is a good example. Like you got a paintball course and there's only one paintball course in your county. You're pretty safe, right? You're operating your business. You get anyone that wants to play paintball, looks out there, they find you, you're the only game in town. But what happens when somebody else enters in that market? And what we're seeing happen is those people entering in have less experience, smaller facility, not as good a service, but they understand the digital world and they know that they've got to do digital marketing in order to drive their business. And so what happens is those savvy businesses come in and you're not a threat to them because you don't have any digital presence locked up. And there's so much open opportunity in that side of the world. They come in and take over the digital space, and all of a sudden, these businesses that have been sitting there are in a complete panic mode because now that 100% audience they had is now 25%. And we're seeing that take businesses out. In our local area and all across the country, businesses are coming to us now going, like we used to be the only people that did this and now there's 10 other people that do it and they don't do it as well as us, but they're killing us. And the reason why these businesses are getting basically just obliterated is because those other businesses have marketing teams that know how to get their clients in front of that audience. And now it's not apples to apples comparisons because they're not seeing the business that's been there for forever. So which business is better is anybody's guess. But what we're really seeing happen is those older businesses that have been circulating in that area that kind of just hung out complacently going, well, we're the only body shop in town. So when somebody's car wrecks, unless they're going out somewhere else, they're coming to us. When that stops and some other entrepreneur comes in and goes, I'm going to open a body shop, They might not be even an eighth as good as the one that's been there, but it doesn't matter. If the one coming in starts getting positive reviews online, starts growing their SEO, their PPC, their email marketing, starts putting up billboards, if they start doing the work of marketing and the business that's been there does not, over time, that scale is going to shift and that new business is going to take the old one out. And it's an unfortunate thing when we see it. And sometimes when people come to us, it's too far, right? Like we're looking at a domain authority for the prospect coming in the doors at 3 or 4 out of 100. And these other guys that have just started a business are at 15 to 20. And in digital marketing land, that means these guys, it's going to take work to catch them. We can't just come in and take off and think we're going to just go get them because they've already got steps ahead. We get a lot of these questions. What do you say to businesses that have been in business for a really long time and they've never needed marketing? You're lucky. You're really, really lucky. And the other unfortunate and darker side of you're lucky is you're probably in trouble and you don't know it yet. Because as somebody who's been in the web sphere and in digital marketing now for the better over a decade, what I've seen happen is we're able to help some of those new companies come in and just take a marketplace. And it eliminates those businesses that have been there. And it's one of the kind of yuckier sides of the world that we live in. Everything we do is competitive, right? The whole digital marketing sphere is competitive. We don't ever want to just cut a business's throat to cut a throat, but our job is to come in and take a business from where they are and overrun their competitors. That's what our job is. And so we're seeing it happen more and more. So this is a little bit of a public service announcement. If you're in a business and you have sort of rested on your laurels and you've not been doing marketing, you haven't touched your website in 15 years, you're kind of just hanging out going, we're the only people in town. If your plan is to shut down and retire in the next 2 to 3 years, let it go. But if your plan is to sell that business, if you want to grow your business to sell it or hand it down to a child or an employee or a relative or something like that, you have to put the marketing effort in place. Because when, we've been doing a lot of like business valuation and like business consulting and coaching and stuff like that. And when we look, it's the first thing we look at is how effective is their marketing? Like, can this business prove that it can continuously bring clients in? Because if it can, the value of that business goes way up. If the whole business is driven by they're the only people in town, it's word of mouth and it's small town handshake stuff, it's not valuable because the next person that comes in to buy that business doesn't have those relationships. And even worse, some other person down the road is going to come in and go book and plop a business down that competes with your business. And all of a sudden you're in this tennis match, but the other person's got 5 people on the court and it's just you, and you're just going to get killed. So don't be complacent. Do not wait until that business sets down 3.2 miles away from you. If you're a glass manufacturer, a general contractor, it's not as important in e-commerce, although marketing is mission critical in e-commerce. So if you're doing e-commerce, you should be marketing online. If you're not doing marketing online with e-commerce, there's probably a whole entire other video for you that needs to be done. But truthfully, in the service space and in the physical location space, you do not want to wait until somebody plunks a business down 3 miles away. You want to make your market look so unattractive to enter into. We constantly spend time and money building our presence so that it looks ugly for another business to come plunk a location down here, because they know that we've got the market held and it's going to be hard to come in and just take our leads, right? It's going to be hard for them to do it. You want to look like the big old alligator in the lake. You do not want to be the little minnow on the side, because then the alligator is going to come and you're a goner. You want to be the alligator. So even if you don't have competition against you today, mark my words, at some point, if your town grows, and even if it doesn't, there's a very good chance that at some point you're going to have competition, and you don't want to let them have a 30 or 40-second head start here in the race, because that's a long gap to recoup in the long run. So if your marketing is complacent, reach out, talk to us. Let's put a strategy in place. If nothing else, let's tell you what you should be doing, and you can decide if you want to do it or you don't want to do it. But doing nothing is a surefire way to get caught, and you do not necessarily want to get caught with your pants down when it comes to business, because this is your livelihood, your family's livelihood, your employee's livelihood. You don't want to wait until somebody is knocking on the door competitively to start deciding, oops, I probably should do something. By that time, we're probably the people on the other end of that person that just plopped their business down, and I will tell you, you're in trouble. Like if you haven't started and we're starting an equal playing field, you're probably in big trouble. So the competitive soccer player person in me is always thinking, I gotta stay one step ahead of the people coming in behind me. Don't fall into complacency with your business. Do the work of marketing, stay ahead of the competitors, and stop people from trying to compete with you, or make it very hard if they do. Because if it's between you having 100% and dropping to 10%, or 100 and you're going to keep 80%, you'll put those new people out of business before they can ever get traction. And it's just the nature of competitive business, right? Nobody wants to hurt anybody else. At least none of our clients typically do, but they do want to win. They do want to grow. And you just don't want to be on the downside of that. You want to be the one taking the lead. So reach out. Let's get a plan in place for you. Don't stay complacent in your marketing. It's a surefire way to have your business disrupted or destroyed by somebody who knows the power of this world of digital marketing.